Today is Sunday, May 13th, and I am in Snowmass. What does that mean? Probably nothing based on this look, but today I'm going to be hiking Snowmass Mountain. For a full hike review of Snowmass Mountain, you can check the link below. So Snowmass Mountain is a 22-mile hike round trip. So I'm going to be breaking this up into 2 days, hiking up to hopefully right around the lake tonight, which is about 8.25 miles, and then the remainder of the summit early tomorrow morning. It is May. There is still a lot of snow up there, so my hike will be, a lot of it will be during the night, especially at the higher elevations where the snow is going to get really sloppy really fast. So the plan is to get up to Snowmass Lake right around 8 o'clock tonight, and then get up around 2 o'clock in the morning to hike up to the summit. This hike does pass through private property along the way. I'll be kind of pointing out some trail junctions. I don't expect to hit snow until right around the log jam, which is about 6 miles. But I will have all of my equipment with me: snowshoes, mountain axe, micro spikes, and tons of layers for tomorrow as well. Pretty interesting though, because I have all that clothing, and you look around here, it's 70 degrees out in a beautiful spring day. So yeah, there is bear activity in the area, so you can see bear canisters are required. So just kind of keep that in mind if you are heading up to Snowmass Lake. Your first trail junction of the day is probably one that you could easily miss. You'll be coming from this way right here, and you're going to just basically keep walking right here. As you can see, this is the West Snowmass Trail, which goes down there, and you just want to basically stay this way here. So not a big one, but just one to point out. The views here are pretty awesome. As you can see, it's springtime. All the aspens are turning green. Creek here, Snowmass Creek, is roaring, and that's where I'm headed. So very picturesque, very beautiful. Well, officially off private property and into Maroon Bells Snowmass Wilderness, part of White River National Forest. So I'm about a mile and a quarter in. Sorry, I gotta hop this guy. Mile and a quarter in, very flat, which means elevation is gonna kill me at some point today. But so far, very smooth, very flat. Just working through this valley here and through this forest. Decent amount of downed trees, but nothing that's been too, cumbersome as far as going around them. So about 3.8 miles into this hike, my end goal is going to be eventually to curve around to the backside up there, and Snowmass is way out of sight right now. Wow, what a view, huh? So we're at a little over 4 miles, 4.15 from the trailhead. It's definitely started to pick up some elevation here, as you can see. So again, from a very basic perspective, Snowmass basically is you're working up this valley and then you're working up there. This is not the right side here, so I'm not going up this area. I will continue through here and then around up the other side. So that actually you can see Snowmass there. Sorry, that's the top of it right there, I believe. And again, I work up a different basin, not this one. But you can see the big snowfields up there, and looks like the top might be a little rocky. But again, won't be able to know that for sure until tomorrow morning. You know, obviously I'm very goal oriented, so getting to the top of the mountain is really what I'm trying to do. Obviously staying safe and being number one, but I rush so much sometimes, and just am worried about getting the mileages and what my pace is and all this stupid shit. And it's like, you know, this is what it's worth. This is why you're here. I mean, it's just so beautiful. This is the infamous log crossing. Very obvious. You can't miss it. There's a beaver dam down there. Don't do that one. Go right here. Now, I have not set foot on this yet, and I was going to try to do an artsy shot, you know, to show me walking across and whatever. But honestly, it's so long and the light is fading that I'm not even going to screw around with that. So I will say it is an amazing view. If you absolutely need to camp around here, I don't know if you'd be able to find a spot, but talk about a freaking, lovely campsite. I hope that I don't run out of light and I can show you the next crossroad, because there is one more before you reach the lake, even though we only have about 2 miles to go. But if you miss that one, it'd be a bummer. So if I have light, I'll show you it. If not, I'll be checking in with you tomorrow morning when I'm up on the ridge. Good morning from Snowmass Basin. False Summit is right up there. Still got to work the ridge. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to do the more direct route or go over to the left. I'm kind of been following this group that I passed yesterday, and honestly, they haven't led me astray so far, so I'm going to kind of follow them wherever they end up going. Hopefully the light is good enough right now that you could see this beautiful scene behind me. Stunning stuff. So you could see North Maroon Peak over there. You might be able to make out Pyramid in the back. And then obviously down there is the lake that's frozen over. I have to say, no matter how you slice this, obviously I camped at the lake last night. I made it there. This is a very tough hike. I'm not even at the ridgeline yet, and I'm just dreading the way down, all the miles I have to walk out of here. So even if you camp, it's a really long hike. I definitely would recommend it with this snow, in the basin at least, or in the Snowmass, excuse me, because it does make things very easy if you get up and hit it when it's still crusty. There's a couple of sections that are just really steep on this, and glissading might work, but it's just steep, and if there's no snow, it's just going to be really eaten out. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to be up there, and also just mentally preparing for the long slog out here. Even though it's May, you can see there's avalanches, and you can see they're over there, a couple little ones over here. Mainly these are called wet slides, and basically what happens is that the snow warms up to a certain point, and so the underneath layer becomes unstable and part of it slides. Now it's pretty early in the morning, and I'm making a judgment call to kind of follow this path here and hopefully take the more direct route. Again, I'll be able to make a better call once I'm up on this little hill right here. But I mean, regardless, they're both really steep, and given the high level of snow, I think I should be able to make it, without having to worry about too much of a drop or anything, or I guess climb. So we'll see. But sun's up now, finally. But I got to get moving before this stuff right here turns to mush. As you can see, my tracks right here, and then those are the tracks from yesterday. I'm not sure what time they were up here, but you can see how much deeper they are versus what I make right there. So I want to get off the mountain before it gets too hot. I decided to do the more direct route. As you can see, there's literally slides, little wet slides all around me here. A little bigger one right there, couple other there. Now, I do not recommend this unless you have a good knowledge of avalanches and a lot of experience dealing with snow. The only reason I thought that this was okay was because I am literally hitting this at 6 o'clock in the morning, so it doesn't have the chance to soften up. On the way back, I'm definitely going to take the ridge most likely. Now you have to see these slopes are steep everywhere, so honestly the chance for a wet slide is going to be basically all around here. I mean, you can look at that little nub right there, it's just covered with them. So the best advice for dealing with conditions like this and wet slab avalanches is obviously do some research, take some classes, know about them beforehand, but also just get off the snow early. And so I'm going to stop talking, get to the top which is basically right up there so that I can follow my own advice. Finally on the ridgeline here, the false summit is this guy, and then the real summit's right over there. So taking a look the other way. Oh my God. You know, people kind of ask me what is the hardest 14er I've done. To be honest with you, they're all hard. Any mountain that you have to gain this much elevation, though, is just stupid. This one is definitely up there. So, taking a look back, I ended up hopping on the ridge about halfway up, I would say. The ridge itself was actually in pretty good shape, but there's a ton of snow, and there's people skiing off here, which is cool, but there's wet slides everywhere. I mean, over there. But very, very pretty up here. This might be one of my favorite views so far, as far as surrounding mountains go. I mean, look at this. It's just stupid. Obviously, the lake is still frozen over. For this hike, I would definitely recommend, as I said earlier, and I stick to that, in the winter or in the spring when there's snow, and bring micro spikes or crampons. Depending on the route you go, crampons are going to be more necessary than micro spikes. The main difference between the two is the size of the spike and the stiffness of a crampon that allows you to dig into something that might be a little harder and a little bit steeper for traction. And some of these slopes, you can look down this one right here, they're freaking steep. One thing I would recommend, and I kind of talked about this earlier, I'll preface this with I am not an avalanche expert, so please do not take my word for the end-all be-all. But I would definitely recommend having a good, at least base knowledge of avalanches, especially wet slab slides or wet slab avalanches, because if you're coming here in the spring, that's going to be the name of the game. This is kind of good perspective. We had a low snow year this year. Can you tell? Because I can't. My point being, if you're coming to Colorado to visit and you want to do this in May or June, or even frankly July, you're going to have to expect snow. The earlier you come and the more snow we have that year, obviously, is going to dictate how much there is. But like I said, this is a low snow year, and it's midway through May, and it might as well be midway through March at this point. As far as dog friendly, maybe in the summer, I don't know. It's tough because there's a lot of this jagged rock here, and it's just not going to be really nice for a dog to go up that. It's a long hike though. I mean, it's definitely a long hike. I would recommend this for people who have a lot of high elevation experience and have a very good fitness level, because no matter how you cut it, if you're going to the lake and then up, or if you're just coming here, it's just a very long hike. You thought things were mellowing out a little bit, you get this. Coming from there, where it was a little flatter, but boy, does it not stop. Okay, so this is a good look at the steepest part of the initial descent, which is getting up the run out here, the gully here. Right now it's obviously snow covered. In the summer, you're gonna have to work your way up and then cross it, and don't go too high. Sorry, don't go too high before you cross it. Looking back at the lake, you can see a pretty good path actually around the lake, the same one I took this morning. You're gonna come out of the woods there, come here, and then come up here. Obviously heading down it now, but you can kind of get an idea of how steep this is. This is the initial steep section that you have to gain from the lake. It can be a big pain in the ass. Once you've rounded the lake here, you're gonna want to kind of work your way to the right. So you can kind of see the melted area, just stay to the left of that. Basically, you just want to stay out of these really steep gullies here. They're all steep, but to the right is a little bit less steep. But for a full hike review of Snowmass Mountain, you can check the link below. Please subscribe to not miss any future hike reviews, and give this video a like if you found it helpful. Thanks for watching.